Well, greetings and salutations to all you people out there in YouTube land. Thanks for joining me. This is Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, and we got a lot of RC submarine stuff to talk about this week. Let's get started, shall we? So to kick things off with a bang, we're going to be taking our highly modified Thunder Tiger Neptune, which has been rebuilt and rechristened the HELLDIVER, out to the top secret test facility to do some trimming and bomb it around. And just like that, we are out at the top secret test facility with the HELLDIVER, looking pretty dang sharp. This boat has not been in the water. We're going to be doing some trimming. Going to put it in surface trim. Not that it really matters where it floats, because it's the submerged trim that we're mostly worried about. I think I got it dialed in based on the mods that I did to the A10 sub killer that you guys saw, but we'll see. Let's just see how close I got. Well, the answer, my friends, is not very darn close. She's negatively buoyant. For some reason, this boat is... Well, you know what? I know why. Because in the other boat, I removed the entire forward bulkhead and the electronic board and all of that stuff. So, looks super cool, though. The stern is sitting on the step there. That kind of sucks. So now I got to pull this out, take it apart, and pull the weights that I put in the keel back out. Whatever. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Whatever. That's kind of sucky. I was hoping to bomb it around in the pool for you today. Now it's got to wait till tomorrow. Well, good morning. It's Monday. Back to work. We're going to get the HELLDIVER taken apart here momentarily, but before we do, got a couple of things I want to share with you. First off, I got a bunch of these testing leads off of Amazon. Don't get these ones. There's like 20 of them for $10 or something like that, which I'm like, that's just wire, so it can't be that bad. First off, when you go to squeeze these things, the sleeve on the outside is so slippery that the alligator just twists inside. It's almost impossible. You see, it just pops right out when you go to squeeze on it. Which is like, whatever, I can live with it. They were cheap. But here's the problem. When I was diagnosing Typhoon here over the weekend, I was having all sorts of problems. The motors were getting hot and all of that stuff, which may be another problem, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then it would stop working altogether. And I was trying to figure out what was going on, and I touched one of these, and then the power came back on. I'm like, what the heck? So I pulled this back, and these are just so cheap. And I don't know if you can see this in here, but basically what they do is put the wire in, fold an exposed part down, and crimp it. But the crimped part doesn't always touch the alligator clip. That's kind of important for the transference of the electrical energizers. These are for testing. The last thing I need is my testing material to be at fault when I'm already trying to diagnose something that's not working. So these are going in the garbage. That vendor's going to get a very harshly worded review. And I'm going to get some different ones. So, word to the wise, cheap is not, you guys know this, cheap is not always the best way to go. The other thing, I just got a toy. Let's take a look what we got going on here. So this is my problematic Typhoon drivetrain. I've removed it. And what's been happening is one of these motors has been working okay. The other one's been like, I'll show you here in a minute. You know, maybe we'll do that before we do HELLDIVER. You know what? Let's just do it. So what I'm going to go ahead here and do is connect our electronic speed controllers to our servo testing majigger. Turn it on. On. Center. Power. And the switch stopped working and everything. This is just it's one of those things, people. All right, here we go. And no, they're not doing it now. They were getting hot. My speed controllers are getting hot. Somebody pointed out, they're like, you know what would be kind of cool as a diagnostical tool is one of these things. This is a thermal imaging camera. And let's just see what this thing does. It looks like the speed controllers are at 100 Fahrenheit, whereas like my battery tester is at 83, and the motors are at 104. Let's turn this thing on, see what we can do. $156, $159, $163, $165, $190 on the speed controller, 200 degrees on the speed controller, and the other one is at 144. So yeah, things are getting a little toasty here. This thing is cool. Everything's room temperature. Okay, so we were on Dive Tribe last night, and if you guys aren't familiar with the Dive Tribe, it's my group of dudes we give special preferential treatments to, and every 2 weeks we have an online video meeting. We talk RC submarines, we teach stuff, we have seminars, we have problems, we show off projects. It's super cool. Membership is $10 a year to start out with for base membership. $10 a year, people. It's totally worth it. And we record all of these so you can watch them afterwards, but only if you're a member. One thing that was brought up was the potential for EMF interference between these two brushless motors. I don't think that's the issue, but what we're going to try out here is unbolting these, separating them, and trying it again. If they work perfectly and the heat situation is not a problem, then we'll know that that is the issue. But I don't know how that's going to help me because I need to have them this close to go in that boat. All right, these are now spread a ridiculous distance away from one another. And let's just fire it up and see if it works any better. Nope. That one there is still jumpifying. That's like even worse. What the heck? This one's fine. He's happy. Woohoo! Let's try disconnecting this guy. No. Man, that's like even worse. I don't even understand. What the heck? Oh, but man, this speed controller gets super hot, even for the one that's working. So here's our thinking. It just could be that, and these are, by the way, the second batch of motors that I've run. Oh, that motor's hot too now. Holy crap. It could just be that these particular motors and these particular electronic speed controllers just don't like each other. So you can swap all of these out and try hooking up alternate electronic speed controllers and see if that rectifies the situation. The thing I liked about these particular speed controllers was they're really small and compact. And I've been using them forever, just not with this exact brushless motor. Could swap the motors out. I can see what motors I have. I'll grab 2 different brushless motors and 2 different electronic speed controllers, and we'll play around with some combinations and see what works. This is really frustrating and really weird. The dudes on the dive tribe were kind of flabbergasted too. So, all right, 2 new motors, old speed controllers, test 1. Well, that looks awfully good. Just gonna run them. Let's just run them for a minute. Let's just let them percolate and massage each other a little bit. We'll bust out our thermal imaging scanning tool. Motor, 87 degrees. Speed controller, 100. 100. Well, you just didn't like these red motors? What the heck? Get a little velocipiece. There we go. Just run, baby, run. 95. Speed controllers. 113. Yeah. Yeah. Boys and girls, so far, so good. So, now the real trick, we'll put them in the mounting block, which the bolt patterns actually work, and if I'm really lucky, the couplers actually fit on the shaft too, which means I won't have to turn these down. All right, maybe we got this figured out. I don't know. Did we? I don't know. Let's find out. Well, it's kind of pissing me off. Here we go. Did you now it's working, but it wasn't there at first. You saw it. It was like what the heck? Is it when these are close? Speed controller's a little warm. Well, now they're working perfectly. What the heck? What the literal heck, guys? All right, it's Wednesday, and got some interesting news. But first, let's take a quick look at the Typhoon now that I got the new motors in place. So I got to adjust the neutral point in here, but it's working perfectly. I've got my rudder, which you can't see move there, my dive planes, I got my pump, and I've got my Caterpillar drive. That's just an indicator, that's not the actual Caterpillar. So it's all working. Now I just got to do linkages and figure out a switch situation. We'll get to that here in a minute. Had some good news. Last night I was approached by a local-ish guy, he's about 2 hours away, who is a certified rescue diver. And he said, you know what, I've been following your story on the USS Texas, and I really want to try and do it. I got a buddy that may be interested in helping out as well. And these guys got like the full setup with rebreathers and like everything. And that buddy reached out to another buddy, and then that buddy reached out to another buddy. So if things go well, This morning, they're going to be out at Sullivan Rodriguez with a team of 4 divers. So what I've got to do here right away, as soon as we're done in the shop, is put together a little presentation for them by email so that they can take a look at it, let them know where we went, what we were doing, where we think it is, and all of that stuff. So that's exciting. You know, maybe this is not a dead deal, but a team of 4, that's pretty cool.
It's like a full rescue squad.
Full rescue squad, yeah. So if it's out there, they'll find it. They've got to. I mean, 4 divers. And this is what they do for a living, right? So everybody cross your fingers and your toes and all of your other extremities. All right, productive morning. I got all the guts and gizmos in our watertight box. I got my linkages all set up. I've installed the battery eliminator circuit in there. The first of which was bad. What is with all this garbage electronics? It's an epidemic, people. But we got the compartment is basically all done. This is huge. I think now we can move on to, you know, the body, the linkages, running a power cable, sealing the battery. Hopefully it'll go quicker now. Hopefully at lunchtime we're going to be testing HELLDIVER. So this is what the cross section of the HELLDIVER looks like. Super quick and easy to get access. Got to pop these weights out, apparently. So just going to pop them out, pry them out. I think I just used silicone. And put it back together again. And we should be in a much better place from a buoyancy perspective. We'll throw it back together again. And then maybe on my lunch break, throw it in the top secret test faculty. And on lunch at the top secret test facility. And the reason we got to do this at lunch is because lately it's been thunderstorming every single afternoon. Let's take a look at how the HELLDIVER's floating. So it's wandering all the way over there thanks to the currents, but this is looking better. Now I'm a little worried that it's a little too buoyant, but we just don't know until we turn it on and flood the tank. But if we can get it floating at this height, that looks pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna go turn it on, get the radio, and let's flood the tank. All right, I'm going to attempt to film this without knocking the camera over into the pool. Okay, flooding the tank, I think. Super hard to tell if it's going down because this pump is so insanely slow. I don't think it is. The other way? No, don't tell me this pump is shot. What? No, it was working. If we spin it around and look through the hole in the side, we can actually see the status light, and it should be green when it floods. Yeah, okay. Well, I thought for sure when I had this apart, I had seen the airbag inflating and deflating. I can see the little vibrations. I know the motor's running on the pump. But it's not going down. Of course. Just did not need that. Just did not need that. I did not need that. I don't know. Should we throw it in the pool and just drive it around on the surface for a minute? Let's do it. So, worked perfect on the surface. It was really cool. Quick, maneuverable, ton of fun. But the pump's not working. It worked on the bench. You all saw it. So I gotta take the whole thing apart now, which is what I really did not want to do. And check it. If it is an older unit, it could be that the hose is pinched. But I saw the bag working. I saw the bag inflating and deflating. I don't know. Take it apart. See what we can see. That's disappointing. Ugh. Friday. Been on the struggle bus getting stuff done this week. I don't know why. This is one of those weeks, you know? Update on the Texas. Diver went out and was promptly within 20 minutes kicked out of the park. Now, I've been out there, as you guys know, like 5 times. Never had a problem. I mean, Nicholas was setting up a freaking 10 by 10 foot tent and command center, and we had the raft out there, and it was not a problem. But yeah, it wasn't a ranger. Apparently it was just like a park employee that said you can't do that. So Travis got kicked out. I've now reached out to the City of Houston Parks and Recreation, trying to get a permit or permission to get in there. So nobody's calling me back yet. We'll keep trying. We got all these divers now, and no way to get them in the water. So that's a little sucky. HELLDIVER is taken apart. Logan did that for me yesterday. I haven't even looked at it yet. What do we got going on back here? Anyhow, I got to get in there and get the pump situation figured out. And figure out why it's not working. That's going to be super exciting. But this morning I've decided to, well, I'll play with that a little bit, but continue work on this. Just got these in. These are little remote on-off switches. Now, you guys have seen I had those 15 amp remote on-off switches, and those had a built-in fuse. This is, gosh, almost half the size and 20 amp capacity. And you can select the switch. You can do one button to turn on and off, one on, one off, which is the way I have it. Or momentary, if you just want to have some feature that would do that. And it's also got, which is kind of interesting, a normally open and a normally closed output. So you could make it so that it's when you hit the on button, it turns off and whatever. I mean, configuration issue, you know, this would be good for, you know, different features and stuff like torpedo launchers and all kinds of things. So I do just happen to have a little pocket right in here that it'll fit in, so I don't need to mount it in the wet, but it does come with an enclosure. You could potentially waterproof this. I'm going to go ahead and get that wired up here right away, and that'll be done. Seal up all my wires, and this will be done. And then we got to move on to figuring out periscopes. That'll be on a float, and these missile tubes on a float, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure it out. I don't know if I have the brain power, because the problem is on a float they're only going to go, I guess that'll be fine, 90 degrees, a little less. Yeah, maybe that'll work. All right, well, we'll play with that. All right, I take it back. These switches are crud. So I got this one all wired in, and hit the clicky and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Thought I got it wired wrong. I switched some wires around. No clicky. I like, oh, maybe I got a bum module. I got the second one that I wired that in, and nothing. I mean, they're super cool if they would just pass power through like they're supposed to. The power comes on the module, got the lights, I can program the mode, all of that works. But it's just not passing power through to the outputs. None of them, not the normally open or the normally closed. So And I don't know. Forget it. I'm moving on to periscopes or something. What I've decided to do, rather than working on periscopes and missile hatches and all of that stuff, is we're just going to work on dive planes. 4 dive planes. Here's what I got going on here so far. This is going to go through. These are not retracting, by the way. Go, 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 go. Get in there. So you can see I got that plated wheel collar. That's going to get our correct spacing on there. But this dive plane is glued to the shaft, but we can't do that on this side because we want to make this removable. So I'm going to show you guys how I go about soldering on this little spacer to a plated wheel collar without fusing everything together and getting perfect alignment. So here's our setup here. We've got an aluminum 16th inch rod, but you could also use stainless. The brass, or the plated wheel collar and the brass tube right here. And the whole reason this works is because solder doesn't stick to aluminum or stainless, but it will nicely stick to brass. So now I've got perfect alignment here. All I need to do is solder this together, and in theory, after I do, I should be able to slip the whole thing right off. And here is the aligned little spacer thing, and I'm going to glue the dive plane onto it, and then that will be the way we attach the dive planes. Well, we're not turning out to have super awesome morning here thus far from an ease of work perspective. The way these Thunder Tigers work, you take these bolts out, or these nuts off, and then the whole equipment tray comes out like that. Problem is that for whatever reason, these nuts on here seem to be secured securely to the threaded rod that passes through the boat. We tried taking the other side off to get a grip on the threaded rod, and unfortunately it just keeps spinning. We can't get a grip without crushing the threads on the other side. I don't know. No, none of them have come off, eh? This is highly frustrating. I've told you guys before, it's like small stupid things like this are just, they're crippling us. Crippling! Alright, we're going to put some thought into this. You can't heat this up because it'll melt the plastic. And you can't get a grip on it from the inside because they've got these little spacers on there. These little aluminum tubes. Which don't really need to be there, in all honesty. What a pain in the butt. If somebody put Loctite on here, I'll hunt them down and kill them. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. Radio on. Power on. It's inflating. It's definitely inflating. Well, I wonder if I turn this off, the failsafe, if it's moving in the right direction. Yep. Well, why does it work now? Maybe does it just not like water?
It'd be a pretty ironic work.
Alright, well, what we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the water pump here, hook up a hose, get a little cup of water, and try it with water. And then we get to put it all back together again. It's good news is the pump seems to be working. I don't know. I just don't know. These pumps, they're so problematic. I don't know. Alright, so we got our test environment hooked up here. And now we're going to see if this works. So, hit it! Which way is that water flowing? Other way? No, other way. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Oh, oh. Yeah, it's filling. Yep. Yeah, empty.
It's not fast by any means, though.
No, it's not compared to that gear pump.
Oh, so is this one a radial or a fan pump?
This is a peristaltic pump.
Oh, peristaltic.
All right. So, I don't know, maybe there was like a flat spot in the hose or something like that. That's how quick that pumps. Alright, empty. So now we get to put it all back together again. You know, I wonder, just for shits and giggles, fill it up again. I'm wondering, because if I grab this bag, put some pressure against it, if it'll still fill. Just wondering if the air pressure inside was causing slippage in the pump, but no, it's pushing really hard against me. So it's working fine. It's working fine. I guess we put it all back together again. That was only an hour of wasted effort. On the brighter side, we got bow planes hooked up. And the way this is going to work, it's pretty simple. Just horn shoots all the way to the back. It's going to connect to the rear dive planes, and so it'll be in the contract that I have. These were supposed to be on a float. I am thinking strongly I may need to pass on it. And then we got the periscopes too. And I hate to do it. I'm in a different place than I used to be, you know, where I could dedicate a day, 8 hours, 2 days, 16 hours to engineering, implementing, testing, redesigning, rebuilding. The problem is, one new feature, like a float actuated set of missile doors, could now take a week or 2 weeks, and I just don't have the time for that. So I may need to have a conversation and just rig these up as functional, super cool boats. Still thinking that the Caterpillar drive might work. We'll see. There's 2 boats. If it works on the first one, we'll implement on the second. If not, then none on the second. And if that doesn't work out for him, then we will dump the job, refund the deposit, and sell this project off. Somebody's going to want it. It'll be a cool swimming pool boat. All right, this is try number 2 at trimming. We bench tested the pump. It was working perfectly. Logan's reassembled everything. He's assured me it's all tight and good to go. We're floating where we were before, so that's good. I'm going to go ahead and hit the pump and see what happens. And it's going down.
It was super slow when we were testing it.
Yeah. It goes down by the stern first. Okay, cool.
It's also probably just ballasted really light, so it actually takes like a lot of it to be full before it actually goes down.
I don't think it's going down anymore. I think it stopped. So, let's take a look inside. See how full. That's kind of the advantage of having our little dudes fit the hole in there. Oh yeah, okay, ballast tank's full.
Oh, you have those pre-made weights. I can go and grab those real quick.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if we should just try and run it and see.
I mean, that's actually a really good height for it to be trimmed at, because it's perfect for them to have. Actually, that's perfect where only their heads and the top of the canopy is sticking out.
Well, this is supposed to be submerged shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are going to need some weights.
All right, I'll run and grab the metal weights you made up.
Yeah, so we're just sitting a little high in the front here. We need to add where? Where do we need to add? Right here, right where the wings are. If we could get it down to like this, that would be ideal. I could probably force it under in this amount of trim, and that would be like really safe. But yeah, we want to make it easy and fun to operate, so more weight. So we dropped in one of the weight blocks that we had in the keel earlier, just right behind the dude there, and it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Let's drop this in the big pool, and we'll go for a drive. Wing.
A lot of air, holy.
So just had HELLDIVER in the pool. Not a speed demon, but I mean we're comparing it to the A10, which had the upgraded motor and all the good stuff. Took a look inside, not a drip that we can see. Nope. Nope, not even a drop. Now, and you know what else? I don't think I've ever charged this battery. So that could be part of the reason it was going a little slow.
Yep, that would do it.
That would do it. But
especially when we were testing the pump over and over.
Yeah, here's the charging plugs. So these just basically plug in here. And you clip your leads to it and charge it up. Yeah. What did you think?
I mean, it looks great, performs great. I mean, it's just a really cool looking Thunder Tiger.
It could go faster, It would be a fun upgrade to, do the full. I would throw a new radio at it and a brushless motor and an upgraded prop. But at any rate, it's super cool. I love it. Something went right today.
I mean, this thing's been pretty gentle on us, all things considered. The pump gave us a scare, but didn't end up being broken, which was nice.
Yeah. So we got the boat all getting charged up here. The charge ports, those plugs, don't work. They're not passing voltage through in either the on or off position of the boat. I don't know why. That's all driven through the board itself. I'd imagine there's some sort of mechanical. There is. It's a dual pole, single throw switch. So it's solid state. I don't know why it wouldn't work. But at any rate, it doesn't matter because I, in foresight, made the battery lead long enough just to pull it out, plug it in. So that's super cool. And I do need to apologize to this poor boat. and possibly to Thunder Tiger. I would be willing to bet during my first test out there, I just wasn't giving it enough time to flood. I'll bet you it was flooding. The ballast tank was flooding, but I called it too early. This one took a while. It took over a minute to fully flood. I probably only let it go for like 20 seconds, and it's just so subtle, I didn't notice. And I was using the forward dive planes to judge whether it was sinking, but it sank by the stern first. So I think the pump was fine the whole time. And all of that effort that we took to take it apart and diagnose it was wasted effort. But whatever, it's all good. It worked fine, worked perfectly. The battery was super low. It was at 12.3 volts. So that's why it really wasn't moving very quickly through the water. The battery was just a little chuggy chug. Needed to get topped up. So it'll go faster in real life. But at any rate, super happy. It's Friday. Good way to end the week. And just like that, we've come to our very last day. It's Saturday, and I switched workout clubs. And normally I would work out Sunday morning, but they do Saturdays. So I've done some work here in the shop. I want to show you what I got done, and then I'm going to start editing the video. Let's take a look. Typhoon. Box is done. Figured out what the issue was with the remote switch, in that I was wiring it wrong. I reached out to the manufacturer. In my defense, most of the other switches I had were power in, power out kind of situations. This one is a little different. It's powers a relay. It's an interrupt, not a pass-through. So for anybody interested, this is the wiring. And you got either normally open or normally closed. There's another one down here, but we want normally open. We want no power, mostly. So once I did that, it worked perfect. Perfect! And I figured out how to calibrate both motors together. You know, that one was like, because it wasn't centered, because it was reversed compared to... Anyhow, I got that figured out too, with a simple offset in the radio. But let's take another deep dive in the Typhoon. So front to back Caterpillar drive, main drive battery. I'm in the process of waterproofing it. I've waterproofed the outlets, and I told you before, this is a completely sealed battery in a hard case. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go. I think this is sealed already with adhesive, but I'm going to rough that up and put some more goop around the perimeter of it, just to make sure. And then for these, I put a thin tip on my silicone tube, and I just basically squeezed it in there until this came out. So this should be really, really well sealed. I like this setup. This is pretty slick. Ballast tank, main power wires, vent, and then I got the power for pump. This is all the power outlets for lights and the pump and main power. Main waterproof compartment. And then we got our little checker to check for water ingress and to dry out the compartment and all of that stuff. Again, in theory, this should be sealed. There is a seal, a rubber O-ring around the perimeter. If it becomes problematic to seal, I'm just going to put a little RTV around the perimeter, bolt it down, and let it go, because it would need to be a situation where there was a failed component or something like that you would need access again. And in that case, you just run a quick knife, pop it off, clean off the goop, put it back on again. And then we got all our outputs. So those will be fun because of the stupid tiny size of this stupid tiny boat. But I'm really happy with the stern. All of the control surfaces are really free moving. We got our brass props in there, and I pre-painted the inside of these so that our brassage will be easier to mask off a little later on. I did reach out to the guy that commissioned this. I just let him know that I do not have the capabilities anymore to engineer a whole bunch of like unique features for his boat. I told you before, you know, what would normally take me, say maybe I spent 2 or 3 days doing it before, 8 hours a day. It could take me 2 weeks now, and I can't do that. It's going to clogify the shop, and you guys don't want that. I don't want that. He doesn't want that. He shot me back an email. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it. I think he's going to be okay with it. It's still going to be a super cool boat. So that's where we're at with Typhoon. One thing that I need to mention to you guys before I forget. President of the United States has instituted a 35% tariff with our good friends to the north. And that is going to impact all of the KMC electronics that I carry. All of the pitch controllers, the BLMs, the DC units, the 2ISs, all of those things are going to see a 35% price increase effective August 1st. Yeah, super awesome. So I would recommend get your orders in now, immediately, before those price changes go into effect August 1st. So expensive hobby getting a little more expensive, at least until he changes his mind and stops the tariffs again. And just like that, we are drawing this week to a close on some high notes. We've got our HELLDIVER completely done. I'm going to get that video for that up here right away, and should be listed later on today. You guys are interested in that. A quick note, I found out we were running it, the battery was only at like 12.3 volts. It was basically 2/3 of the way discharged, so it was a little slow. I mean, it was still cool and it worked really good, but with a fully charged battery, I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer for that thing. And the pump obviously will run faster too, so it won't take so long to get down. But that's already done. You guys can grab it and have some fun. And we got our Typhoon box done. That is a huge milestone. Now it's basically assembly, cosmetics, test and trim. Maybe next week we'll be in the water. Do you think? Ready for the water? Ready for me just to spit on it? So, big push next week. Get that Typhoon done. Next project up, I think. Let's take a look. Let's take a look over here. Let's see here. Typhoon, Seaview, Stingray, Shark. 38-inch RC Shark. That should be a quick one. And I'm excited to see how that goes. If you guys saw that RC Shark attack video, maybe I'll put a link down below so you can jump into that. They're freaking cool, and I'm excited about this one. It's a more portable size. You can tuck it under your arm. Yeah, so we'll knock that thing out. After we clear the bench of HELLDIVER, we'll get the Shark going over there. Logan can pick at that thing while I work on Typhoon. So, hope you enjoyed this week's video. Like and subscribe, drop the comments, do all the things. You know how it works. I am going to leave you off at this point. You have a great rest of your day, and as always, catch you next time.